Headline at Breitbart, Boehner tries to resuscitate dying border bill, which is an open border bill. They go, oh, pass this, it'll fix the problem that we're dictators and have opened the border up. It's not a problem, they're doing it. In the Speaker's lobby just off the House floor, members of Congress were full of recriminations over how the border bill had just died until it sparked back to life. Yeah, that's how the elite sneak stuff through. They let opposition build, as William Gein said here just a few days ago, and then they kill it, and then they bring it back. House leadership has announced a 3 p.m. special conference meeting to discuss the issue and raise the possibility of additional votes for the House departs for summer recess. The change is an abrupt shift from a decision to pull the bill and leave without a vote on it at all. According to Republicans familiar with the matter, the decision prompted a sudden and fierce backlash against Speaker John Boehner from rank and file. See, a lot of them already took off early, folks. He is so sneaky. And file members who wanted to be able to tout passage of a bill to constituents over the summer break. And the media, I think, knows the public's not paying attention. They're like, we got to get something done. We don't like gridlock. We need to do something about the kids pouring across and the adults. This bill will fix it. Well, it'll fix it? It's like if one arm's cut off, cut the other arm off. That's how you stop bleeding? I guess it will slow bleeding in the other arm because you'll bleed out of the, the second arm. But overall, blood flow will be more intense. You cut this arm off, it's at 100% bleed, and you cut the other one off, it goes down to 75%, but this one's still bleeding. I mean, they just play games, and the games are so simple, I don't know how the public doesn't understand it. We're going to bring her back in and get her hooked back up to her earpiece, but let's go to Michael in South Carolina. You're on the air. Thanks for calling in, and thanks for holding.
Hi, Alex.
Hi, go ahead.
Alex, I read None Dare Call It Conspiracy 32 years ago, and I was awestruck, but I kind of succumbed to the cognitive dissonance, and I just thought it was so overpowering that you had to believe almost at that time that these people would be benevolent, that they were the best and the brightest. And then Ron Paul woke me up about 20 years ago, and I've been following you for about 15 years. But now the cognitive dissonance in the general public has just completely corroded society. I was in a business that with contemporaries that were making over $100,000, and now probably 40% of those people are retired and getting, wangling disability. Their honor has been compromised, and that's what I see happening all over the country. Is that honorable people are compromised by the situations, and they're being replaced by people that are MBAs that'll come out and work for $40,000 a year.
I know, and it's not just the elite that are now corrupt and weird. It's that more and more the general public just has no soul, no morals, and you have to just search for good people and search for people that don't want to betray you for no reason. I mean, people will betray you even when it hurts them and there's no reason to. It's just they do bad even though it's not even good business for them to do it. It's incredible.
You're trying to restore honor in this country. I just don't know if there's enough people that are susceptible to your message anymore. And I don't want to sound defeatist because I won't give up, but it's very disheartening. I called in because I just saw an article of Newsflash in the Washington Post where Brennan admitted that the CIA had been spying on the Senate computers.
Oh, yeah, and first they denied that. I have the article right here. CIA admits improperly hacking Senate computers to control the Senate Intelligence Committee that's supposed to control them. And that's what all these people need to get, like Dianne Feinstein and others, is they'll never escape the tyranny they've helped build. I mean, who would want to build something this dangerous and evil? I mean, it's beyond nuclear weapons. Because, yeah, why do you make nuclear weapons? Well, because the Russians might get them. Okay, well, then why do you build giant NSA systems? Oh, to keep us safe. But it's not. It's for political control. And then people then convince themselves of any reason to keep going along with the system. And again, we don't need to wait during the break. She can come in and get hooked up just whenever she's ready in here. Okay. Thank you, Michael. Really great call. Let's talk to Joel in Texas. Joel, you're on the air.
Yes, sir, Alex. I was curious about, Obama tells us the reason he's bringing in all these illegal alien children from Central America.
Well, he loves them.
Is because they've grown up in war-torn areas and subjected to gang violence. Now, what about the kids growing up in war-torn, gang-infested areas like Detroit, L.A., Chicago, Miami? We're going to round them up too? I mean, why can't they nut up and just tell us the truth, man? It's about power, control, collapsing the country.
Well, I mean, they don't tell the truth even when the truth would serve them best because that's their nature. But yes, there's only one place in the United States more dangerous than Mexico per capita. That's Chicago. Then there's one other sector that's almost as bad as Mexico. That's Detroit. But Detroit has guns, so that's why they've had so many robbers shot and killed that their crime rate's actually been dropping. The police chief said just last week, thanks to citizens shooting criminals. And again, I've got to say the head of Interpol came out last year and said, arm the general public. That will end, radical Muslim attacks in Europe and Africa. And we've got the police chief of Detroit saying, get guns. We can't protect you. They've cut the police, and you need to get guns. I mean, that's normal when you're in a road warrior situation to have the police chief say, get guns. And, I mean, the Austin police chief knows full well more guns means less crime. Criminals are going to have guns regardless. They know. In fact, I mentioned the heroes of Mexico. They act just like Texans because they are. I mean, Mexico was founded. A third of the people here were Tejano, Mexicans. The guy that wrote the Constitution had been a Mexican. They didn't like Santa Anna. Mexico later overthrew Santa Anna after he lost Texas because he was a thug. I mean, no one wanted to be under Santa Anna. And the Texans didn't want to have a fight with him, but he came and said, I'm taking the land that the previous president sold you for pennies on the dollars, a couple cents an acre. We paid 3 cents an acre from the previous Mexican government before Santa Anna. They all spent it like it was a bunch of Don Johnsons shooting pregnant women in the Mexican Revolution that started here in Texas, became the Texas Revolution. There were a bunch of other Mexican revolutions against tyrants. Guatemala took Guatemala from Santa Anna because he was a dictator. I mean, does that mean they didn't like Hispanics? No, they didn't like Santa Anna. See, I know too much. I know history. I'm not an ignorant fool. But the system knows the average person doesn't know all this information and doesn't know Santa Anna said, I'm coming to take all your guns. And Texas was very dangerous at that time with Comanche, you name it, in big Indian wars. And they said, we can't give up our guns. We're not giving up our property. That's what happened there. But in Mexico, in the last 5 years, they've had rural ranchers, cowboy hats, the whole 9 yards, get illegal guns out of the U.S. and start fighting back against the cartels. And the cartels have now left those areas, and the Mexican army's pulled out of those areas, and crime rates have plummeted. That's mainstream news. See, there's the answer. Let's go ahead and talk to Dr. McCoy. Great points, Joel. Dr. McCoy, go ahead.
Hi, thanks. I think that there may be a non-prescription treatment for the Ebola virus hidden in the technical literature. The name of the compound is poly-IC. That's P-O-L-Y parenthesis I:C close parenthesis. And this is basically a long, generic, double-stranded RNA that is an immunomodulator. You can look that up on Wikipedia, and it'll give you a little overview if you want. I can back this up with an article from the Proceedings of National Academy of Sciences. The title is A Non-Replicating Subunit Vaccine Protects Mice Against Lethal Ebola Challenge. Excuse me. And in that, they call it an adjuvant, suggesting that it's aiding the vaccine. But in fact, there's a patent application, I believe, from Novartis, which seems to be disclosing that this can act on its own. This is marketed as an animal antibiotic, but it's not an antibiotic. Again, it's an immunomodulator, and it can be found on the open market. I can give you the name of that patent application if you want.
Well, that's very interesting, sir. You should write an article about it for us, and then we'll fact-check it and put it up on Infowars.com. Anybody can submit articles at planetinfowars.com. It's primitive and simple, but it works well. That's our little social network, planetinfowars.com. Thank you so much for the call. And I wasn't ignoring you there at the end. Obama phone lady came back in, and I put you on pause for like 5 seconds, so I missed the end of what you were saying. Occasionally, if it sounds like I wasn't listening to you, it's because they're popping in my ear to say, Jesse Ventura just won his lawsuit. Or, blah, blah, blah. By the way, I've talked to Ventura. I've been playing phone tag with him the last few days. I'm just going to get him on for a full hour next week. He wasn't going to do any news, but he did a couple TVs because he's playing in a 3M charity deal the next 3 days, a big golf tournament. And so it was like either get him on for like 10 minutes via a scratchy cell phone or try to get him on via Skype or something next week. We've got to help him fix his Skype at his house. And he said he'd do it. His wife said he'd do it. So we'll get a response from Ventura. And again, with all this big world news going on, the Ventura thing's not really important. We're going to skip this network break, guys. But the larger issue is they could destroy anybody with one of these hoaxes. And it's not about Chris Kyle and his service. It's not about his wife, the widow, as they've made it in the media. Chris Kyle said he beat up Jesse Ventura in front of people for saying that he was glad Navy SEALs were dying. Jesse Ventura never talked like that. And he said retract it, and they wouldn't. He filed suit on Chris Kyle. Chris Kyle then got killed mysteriously. And now they're spinning it in the media where they repeat what Chris Kyle said, and then they say, and Jesse Ventura sued and beat his wife. He ganged up on a woman. News Corps published that book and undoubtedly wrote it and ghost wrote it for him and basically did that. News Corps' insurance paid the $1.8 million, not Chris Kyle's wife. And now Clint Eastwood's making his book into a movie. Maybe it'll have Jesse Ventura getting punched out in it. I bet it won't now that he won that lawsuit. Maybe we'll have Clint Eastwood punch him out. And I like Clint Eastwood. Maybe we'll have Jesse Ventura, somebody will say he cooked up, methamphetamine with him or something. It's not true. And Ventura's not supposed to sue. Let's say they said Jesse Ventura murdered an innocent person. And then Jesse Ventura sues the person that says it. They die. And then he wins a suit against the book they wrote that the wife now owns the book. I mean, do you have a right to justice in this country? And I get the fact that Chris Kyle's seen as a Republican, and so the Obama hatred is so intense right now. And look, I'm not defending Ventura because I've known him for about 9 years, and we're friends. I'm defending him because he didn't do that. They made it up. They claimed he got an altercation with cops in L.A. at an airport and ran from police basically in a car. And he was in a golf tournament in Minnesota and hadn't flown for 2 years when that happened. They were running psyops on him, and they could do it to me or Matt Drudge or Ron Paul or Rand Paul. And I'm going to give people the benefit of the doubt when they've been set up by a system. I know a hit piece when I see it. And I think Chris Kyle was manipulated. I think he was told to say that. And he was set up. And I don't think he got killed probably over the Ventura thing. Definitely a setup. When he got killed, my heart goes out to his wife. That's the bigger issue. When he got executed at that gun range in Dallas. Kraft International that he owns wears the Punisher with an added symbol and khaki pants. And those guys at the Boston bombing were wearing Kraft International outfits. Khaki pants, black shirts, Punisher emblem. And Kraft would not respond and not say they hadn't done it. And Chris Kyle died right after that. I mean, right after. And I'm not saying Kraft was involved. We watched the video and the photos. When that went off, they were running around checking everybody. They had, I believe, Kraft or someone like them in a drill that because they'll get a bunch of drill. We know a drill was going on, too. So that cops, if they find the real bomb with another group, they'll just think it's part of the drill. We've talked a lot about that. So I believe Chris Kyle got executed, and they set up some mind control victim to take the fall because he knew too much. And I think was probably overall a good guy. He was obviously being directed by high-level people as a cutout asset, and they burned him. Now, folks, I was told by Navy SEALs a week after 20-something of them died in that helicopter crash, that the word was there was a bomb on board and that they thought they'd been set up and killed because the bin Laden raid was fake and that they killed a body double. Years after that, I've had multiple Navy SEALs and multiple Navy SEAL families on who lost family, and they say that's the word, and they know the name of the body double. And let me tell you, when I meet with a Navy SEAL or meet with a Navy SEAL's family in private, early on, it was dangerous when I went on air with that information. So let me explain something. I'm not up here making this stuff up, okay? I mean, I get chills, folks, of fear. And I'm not even consciously afraid. My body is afraid. You understand what I'm saying? My body is afraid. Whenever we confirm, this is above my pay grade, folks, that they took a bunch of nuclear weapons that were hidden at Dias out and sent them to the East Coast. And then Obama starts talking about, I'm afraid nukes will go off with some mystery group. I mean, the globalists are not above false flagging. And then, you know who they're going to come after? They're going to come after the libertarian movement, folks. And believe me, I'm a canary in the coal mine. They ever announce Alex Jones has committed suicide or Alex Jones was found dead with a needle in his arm, I was killed. I will never commit suicide, and I don't use illegal drugs, ladies and gentlemen. I don't use pharmaceuticals. They say he had a thing of sleeping pills in his belly. I've never taken a sleeping pill. I've had a broken leg, and I won't take the painkillers. Make me vomit everywhere. So I want that on record, ladies and gentlemen. They took secret nuclear weapons out of Dias Air Force Base in West Texas. They blew up that helicopter to kill those Navy SEALs because they were talking. You think I like knowing that info? I was real happy when that got broken a year later on mainstream news. They were saying that. Because you know what that means? That means I'm not top of the list to get killed. I don't want to be the hero. I don't want to be out front. I don't want the accolades. I don't want to do this job, okay? I have a responsibility to tell the truth because my bones won't let me do anything else.
City of Austin tap water versus filtered City of Austin tap water.
I can taste dirt in it.
God knows what's in this.
This has an aftertaste.
Tastes like Austin water? Yeah, it does. Ugh.
These people just sampled City of Austin tap water straight from the faucet. Next, we had them try a sample of tap water filtered through the ProPure G2.0 filtration system.
High quality H2O.
That one is better.
Tastes like nothing.
Yep, I know what good water tastes like. It's good water.
Most tap water contains added substances like fluoride, chlorine, Monsanto's deadly pesticide, glyphosate, and many others. Studies prove that these substances are linked to an assortment of major health issues, including tooth decay, lowered IQ, and even cancer.
It tastes like you're drinking out of the lake when you're drinking tap water.
Yeah, it has that processed flavor to it.
The ProPure G2.0 filtration system removes these deadly substances and many more, leaving only fresh-tasting, deliciously clean water.
Okay, this is very tasty.
It's good water.
Refreshing.
It's good.
Go to InfoWarsStore.com today. Use promo code WATER and save 10% off your ProPure purchase. Again, that's InfoWarsStore.com or call 1-888-253-3139.